I'm sorry, we're like 8 minutes over. We had a sewer commission before you. So on the agenda is agenda approval. We need to add air and emission certificate, sanitary consulting services, additional services. 2, approval of minutes of 8:13 and 8:22. Warrants. 4, old business date on the town office project, Town of Bennington request for logging easement. 5, new business, winter sand bid, set the 2020 tax rate, budget adjustment, allow a gate sale of the property revenue back to the capital fund, town agent resignation, PCDRB administrator assistant recommendation for hire. Board liaison updates is laptop and cell, LGDR grant, mission statement, digitalization grant, historic preservation grant, parking for the church, Green Mountain Bible Conference land, town-owned land and potential use. Number 6 is public comments. They're available on Zoom. If you have a landline and want to call in, that number is 1-929-205-6099. So could I have approval of the agenda, please?
Make a motion we approve the agenda with the amendments to add the errors and omissions and the consulting services, additional services.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Mike?
Aye.
Angie, aye. Bob?
Aye.
Jamie?
Aye.
Okay, the ayes have it. Approval of the minutes of 8:13. Did everybody read them?
Make a motion we approve.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Mike?
Aye.
Angie, aye. Bob?
Aye.
Jamie?
Aye.
Approval of 8:22.
Make a motion we approve.
I need a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Mike?
Aye.
Angie, aye.
Aye.
Jamie?
Aye.
Okay. Warrants. Payroll ending 8/16, $10,282.45. Payroll ending 8/23, $7,966.06. Accounts payable for number 8/21 for $45,719.99. You got Casella Waste Management on there for $4,612.02. You have People's United Bank, which is the 4th payment out of 5 for the 2016 tandem dump truck for $27,160.25. And then we have accounts payable number 9 for 8/28 for $23,351.42. And on there is Green Mountain Power for $1,921.28. MVP Healthcare for $7,045. BMERS, which is retirement, for $3,201.78. The IRS for $2,463.27. And then accounts payable 9A for 8/29 is $3,963.56, and that is for the Pownal net meter group. So can I have a motion?
Motion to approve the warrants. Second.
Any discussion? Mike?
Aye.
Angie, aye.
Aye.
Jamie?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay. Old business. Update on town office project.
Okay, I'll be very quick on that. So now we can talk about it. The last meeting we had an executive for contractual, and I asked for permission to do something, and now we can talk about it because I did it. I wrote a letter to Preferred Building Systems, and I asked them to cover our cost for the architectural stamp because that was an additional cost that we decided to take on to get our state permitting. They agreed, and they will be covering all of our architectural costs by taking it off as a deduction at their final invoice. So we got the architectural stamp covered, which is like really good news. Yeah. We got our local permits. So we have our site permit, which our zoning administrator signed on Saturday. The DRB approved it last Wednesday. And we just tonight got our wastewater permit, the local. The architect's working really closely with us. So we're very close to our state permits. There were many places where, I was talking about this before, where we were stuck and they were saying no to, and they're saying yes on all of them now. Those were the foundation plan, the plan for the fire vault, the approval of the door of the fire vault, and all of the plumbing and electrical plans. Those are all accepted by the state. We have solved the issue of needing an elevator variance or an elevator. That's a solid now. We just removed the stairs connecting the 2 floors since there is, since the use is separate use, we're able to do that. Right now, Colleen and I are working on an order of operations regarding all the next steps for the project. And she's checking in with all the various contractors on their availability and their timing. So I'm hoping at the next regular meeting, I'm going to have a timeline ready to go for you. Okay? And that's it for me for Town Hall update.
Excellent. Great job. Thank you. And Pauline, thank you.
The only other thing is the A&R permit besides.
Yes, that is
Stuff to work on.
yes, that's being worked on. Yep.
That's the last thing.
There's 2 last things. There's the building permits from the state, which we are lined up as soon as the architect's done doing his work with our plans. And then there's the A&R, the state A&R permit, which
Stormwater.
you guys were going to approve going after that once we had our other permits in order. We think we are. I personally would. It's time to get the A&R permit.
Okay. Thank you so much.
So I have a question.
Sure.
Most of this stuff, the site work, the foundation bid, all of those things that were put out to bid before, I believe we're probably gonna have to put them out to bid again because I don't think that
Because of the time.
because of the timeline. That's right. It's been a year for some of them, I think, or close to it.
Do you want me to talk to Pauline about that?
I would think that we probably should. I would think that it would be pretty hard to hold a contractor to a bid.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get her to do, is to speak to the contractors. Where are we still a go?
Right.
What has
Verify
changed?
the
Has anything changed? What is your timeline? What's your availability? And
Right.
that's what that's the next step that I'm working on with her.
Okay.
So that way we'll know immediately. In fact, I'll push really hard on getting that done in the next week. So that way we'll know if we have to rebid anything.
Well, that was going to be my point. Is our next regular
Okay.
meeting we could say
Let's put out the bids.
That's right.
Exactly.
Let's put out the bids
All right.
to keep this project moving forward because now it is moving forward.
It's not a problem. I'll make that a goal to have it done by then.
All right. Very good. Let's move on to B, Town of Bennington request for logging easement. Oh boy. Put my bifocals on.
I did put something in your packets because Mike asked me to send that email.
Yeah, and I haven't had time to read it, to be honest with you, because it just came in this afternoon. So
If you'd like, I can tell you what it says, but
I mean, I read it.
yep.
Basically, it's 2 private parties working on getting the access. If it was town-owned property per the state statute, then the select board, they can make a judgment on it. Because it's in litigation and it's 2 private parties, then they have to take and continue the litigation process.
I'll trigger. So skip the second. That's from the VLCT, right? 'Cause
This is
I
from the
actually-
VLCT, and I asked very specifically.
Okay.
So yeah, you might, if you would like, I can give a quick synopsis over what she said, but it's in your packet. The correspondence is in your packet.
From VLCT, it says, if the property is privately owned and the logging operation is a private endeavor, the town would have no role, authority, or responsibility in this neighbor dispute. It sounds simply like a property dispute between neighbors should seek legal counsel, which we know they have. if there is a petition to lay out a town road, then it would fall under the board's authority. However, it's an easement over private land and another private use, which would not involve the town in some cases.
No, in some cases, it's not.
Correct.
It's a new sentence. In some cases, the town.
Right.
Yeah.
May have legal authority to take the property through eminent domain, but that does not sound like this case that is described here, as the town does not have an interest in access, but instead it was requested by a private property owner to negotiate their access.
That next sentence is important too, I think.
Yeah. And there's a side. The legal status of town interest in property or road would have to be determined by the town attorney.
And then I just want to say that I clarified the question after that to say, if the landlocked town is owned by a municipality, even though it's in, does that change the premise of the question that I asked at all? And she said, no, it does not change the premise. The person or the entity looking for the access must negotiate for him or himself, no matter who the owner is. So they're basically, as far as the town of Pownal is concerned, they are considered two private property owners having a dispute that's being settled in court. That's the VLCT.
Okay. Any other discussion on it?
Pretty clear.
It's, yeah, unfortunately, it's pretty clear. Seems to be anyway.
Okay. New business. Do we need to?
Well, I don't know. You were asked to do something.
Well,
that would,
No, we asked that we would come back and discuss it.
Right,
this week.
okay, never
if
mind.
there's no motion.
There's no
If
motion.
I don't think there's any action.
No,
Okay.
There's no action.
Okay.
New business is the winter's sand bid. And Joel is recommending William Barney at $3 a yard, same price as last year.
Yep.
For 3,500, so that would equal $10,500.
make a motion to accept the bid.
Second,
Second, or you did.
you can.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion?
Just for clarification, that sand is coming out of our pit that we leased, not from, Mr. Barney.
Okay. They're just processing it.
The processing, that's the process cost, exactly.
Okay,
I just don't want anybody to think we're buying it for $3 a yard.
It's
okay.
coming off the lease back.
It's costing us $3 a yard to process our own sand off our leased property.
Any other discussion? Mike?
Aye.
Angie, aye. Bob?
Aye.
Jamie?
Aye.
Okay, the ayes have it. Budget adjustment.
You can do the 2020 tax rate, right?
Oh, did I skip over that?
You did.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, set the.
It's all right, Ellen. I thought you were.
Sorry, Ellen.
I brought it up.
I'm putting my bifocals on.
This
I
would be
look
kudos
foolish,
to
but
me.
I can't see.
Well, the next three are all me, Mike, so
Okay, now I can see, guys. I'm
Well,
sorry.
see?
I don't care what order they come in.
You see?
All right, we're
Way to
gonna
be greedy.
set the town rate of 2020. Ellen, would you like me to read this?
Sure.
All right, this is, all right, town general tax, 0.3017. Local agreement state ed tax, 0.0035. Town road tax, 0.3077. So the total municipal tax rate is gonna be 0.6129. The sewer bond flat tax per partial developed is $75. Undeveloped is $37.50. The state education tax homestead is $1.4329. Non-residential is $1.6108. The total town plus state education developed partial homestead rate will be 2.0458, bond $75. Non-residential rate is $2.2237, bond is $75. Note, taxes will be due on November 10th, 2020. Ellen, would you like to say anything on that?
The only thing I wanna say, because of COVID, we're working on discussions. Once this tax rate is set, I'm hoping to send out bills September first. That's the date. I'm gonna try to print them tomorrow, get them stuff, mail them on September first. September and October, I suggest people use the mail and the drop box that's on the front door by the town clerk's office. If they want a receipt, leave their tax bill with their payment. That way it connects their check. Some people have different names and they just drop off a check and you can't match it up with a parcel, so I suggest they do that. We're also gonna use Municipay again this year. So they can go online on the town website, townofpownal.org. Municipay will be activated on September 1st. There is a fee that the taxpayer has to pay to use that. That's another option. November's hours, it will depend on where we stand with the state of Vermont and the orders that we have to follow on what hours I'm gonna hold, but I am gonna try to hold hours in the town office for the people that like to come in from November 1st to the due date of November 10th. That's stuff that we have to work on here, so I can't give definitive hours for them. Follow the website, because I will keep things updated there. Because we are not open to the public backyard.
I think just to expand on that one, I think that can be put on our Facebook page. When you establish your hours, you're gonna in November. Once you establish
As we do
those.
stuff, it will go on the website and
Right, right. No, I know, and that's it just dawned at me. And it's like, it's, you know,
So
like,
we'll get it out there,
Right.
is what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Get Monty called the office number here.
I guess that was more for a thing for Rebecca to say, hey, we're gonna put this on your Facebook
Anything.
page.
If people send me things, I will put them on Facebook.
Right, but and so for September, I don't have a lot of payers in September and
Right.
October that come in and physically see me, but the office really is not open to the public, so. And we're still doing rotating hours, so there's no definitive way to say that people have to work with this with COVID-19. I'll do the best I can. Reach out to me, call the 823-0116, extension 106, leave me a message, I'll get back to you, we'll try to set up something if you need me.
Great.
Okay?
Okay, budget adjustment.
No, you guys set this tax rate.
Oh,
so-
We have to have a motion, I'm sorry. So I make a motion to set the tax rate at what I just read.
I'll second. And now, to be clear, we've gotten a leeway here. It's
No.
approved budget and.
Approved
we have
budget,
to-
you cannot change, and it's the
It's what they-
school, the biggest part of it is the non-residential and the homestead, and you can't change what the state
It's
says.
math.
I
This
just
is
wanna make
pure
it
math.
clear
It's
that it's
right.
pure
Pure
math.
math.
Yeah.
It's not the board raising your taxes.
No, it is not the board, and it is not the
reality.
treasurer, it's reality.
So you come over with a new car, Ellen.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
I hope you don't have
Any
one
other
of the
discussion? Mike,
Aye.
Angie, aye,
That's
Bob,
bad, sorry.
Jamie, the ayes have it.
Yeah, no, right?
Okay. Budget adjustments. Is this these, Linda? Okay. So for the consulting service,
No, budget adjustments are these,
To the left of you, to the left.
oh, I'm so sorry.
and I emailed you all these. It's the same thing you just did for Darcy.
Yep,
The citizens of the town of Pownal vote on a budget on the general and the road, that's what these are for.
When did you mail those?
A week and a half.
Oh, okay, I thought, I was thinking it was something
Yeah.
just recent, sorry.
I apologize. So basically, they vote on the flat general budget, so the general budget is an adjustment within the general budget.
Right.
The road budgets are adjustments within the road budget of what the citizens voted on.
Correct.
okay.
It's moving the monies to the appropriate.
Right, and then the other adjustments are if a specific fund, like your blacktop fund for the road or your gravel crushing fund was overspent, so you take it from the designated funds, the balance, I give you 3-page sheet of that.
Yep.
It comes out of there and you have to move it into the FY20 budget. You're taking it from the savings account, basically putting it into the budget to cover the over expenditure.
Okay,
Okay, so that's the other budget adjustment. So basically you're voting to move money from designated funds into the FY20 budget.
Right.
And you're just moving money around budget lines, using your contingency. We use our contingency and then sometimes we have to make a budget adjustment within itself. So when we did the gravel bed lease for the gravel bed, we initially that was budgeted into the gravel, sand, and riprap line.
mhm,
So this budget adjustment I have in here is specific for that. All we're doing is moving it out of the gravel, sand, and riprap into
Right.
the gravel lease, because that's where we paid the bill from, because that's where it should have been paid from.
Correct.
But it didn't have a line to budget in at the time because there wasn't a definite lease yet, so no,
Right.
so it didn't get budgeted.
okay.
Okay,
So moved on the
So I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Mike,
Aye.
Angie, I, Bob,
Aye.
Jamie?
Aye.
Okay,
I have a question on that. Once I do these, do you want to see the journal entry that I do and sign off again, Angie? Or because you all voted on it and you had copies of it, are you good? Or do you want to see the actual physical? You know, the thing.
yeah, how I sign every, yeah.
You want to sign that off for me?
I'm good.
You're good, you don't have to sign off.
Okay, anything else from you, Ellen?
Yes. The next one.
Allocate sale of property.
So, I can't remember if it was last board or the board before that. They voted that anytime the road, spent their money out of the blacktop fund, I always use that for the road because that's where most of the money goes. Yes. So he would spend money, Joel would spend money, and then he would get money back from a grant or whatever. And so instead of having to come to the board every time that happened, they made an overall vote to just always let me put it back into, because that's where it was spent from. It was specifically spent only from the blacktop fund. The grant money would go back into the blacktop fund. If it covered the whole budget, then it didn't go back into a specific fund. So this money was specifically spent out of the capital fund. And so now that we have money back, I would like to put it back into the capital fund. So it's keeping the capital fund having money in
Right?
it.
Correct.
If we spent it from there, now we have the exact money back, it should go back into the
Exactly.
capital. Okay.
So can I have a motion on that, please?
So just so that I'm clear and everybody else is clear, you're allocating the sale of the property revenue back to the capital fund. What is the sale? What is the property revenue? What is that money from? Because I'm a little unclear. When it says sale of property,
There was a sale of the Dean Road property.
oh, okay, yep, no, okay, that's,
Oh, you don't have this in
He
front of
doesn't
you.
have
his-
You're not reading
Right.
what I have.
right, sorry. I'm just reading out the agenda, so I just want to make sure everybody's clear.
Right.
That's
So
what,
the
that-
town had acquired
Right,
a
yep,
tax sale.
Yep.
And then,
I'm good. And I just want to make sure that
so you understand.
I understand. I just want to make sure viewers understood too, and that's all. That's all I wanted to make sure viewers understand what that was, and if they're reading the agenda, just so that everybody's
So they
crystal.
know.
That's right. Yep,
Okay,
perfect. Thank you.
did I have a motion? Bob made it, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second, okay. Any more discussion? Mike,
Aye.
Angie, I, Bob.
Aye.
Jamie, I. Or Jamie.
That's way to vote for me.
I'm sorry.
Something out of my head.
No, the power's not going to my head at all. All right. You're welcome, thank you.
Should we flip flop E and F on our agenda?
I was gonna tell you they should go together
It's on the
because they're
agenda.
related.
I know, that's why I
Yeah.
wonder if we should flip flop.
Well, no, you can't
Oh, we can
because I
do
have
both
to,
at once.
there's a conflict, I'll tell you.
Could we go back and do the arrow and mission?
Yeah, right here, I have
Oh,
in my
yeah.
hands, hon.
Yep.
So that we don't. get them.
Right, okay,
Okay, can we do those next?
we're
week?
doing it right now. Errors and the emission certificate.
requires a signature.
Yes, this is a consulting
Good luck with that
service
new
to
car,
assist with landfill recertification. 2,500 for additional services. I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
I need a second.
That's it.
Any other discussion? Mike,
Aye.
Angie, I, Bob,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
okay.
It's for the crane.
All right, and then the second thing is the errors and emission certificate. We need a motion to approve for the submission Vermont Department of Taxes and Property. Anything else I need to add, Linda?
No, those are just changes made by the listers.
Okay,
They need to be reported back to the state.
all right, can I have a motion?
Motion approved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Mike,
Aye.
Angie, I, Bob,
Aye.
Jamie?
Aye.
Okay,
Please sign.
yep. Doesn't have our name right.
Just her signature or all?
Signature.
Just signature, okay.
All signatures, Linda, or just one?
Looks like
All
all,
five.
Okay.
Four. Up there here.
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Thank you.
all right. So there's that. So Linda, I only see this one on this, that's me, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
That's it.
you're welcome. All right. Now we're gonna move on to town agent resignation. We received a letter from Rebecca.
Yes, so my intention, as I wrote in my letter, was that I would serve out the rest of the term. As you know, that the position as an elected one is statutorily done. You can still give the discretion to get an agent or whatever you want to do, but regardless, my intention was to finish out the term. However, because of the next agenda item, I've been offered a position to help in town, and because it's quasi-judicial, I believe there is a conflict regarding a town agent serving in that capacity. So I am effectually resigning from the town agent position. And also, you know, the board liaison position has a lot of what I've been doing as town agent written into the description of the job anyway.
Right.
So,
Well, thank you for what you've done for us so far. You've been a huge help.
thank you.
And for what you'll continue to do.
Right,
Just to
well.
be clear.
All right, so now we're gonna move on.
Well,
You've accepted.
we have to
Oh, we have
accept
to accept it, I'm sorry. We accept it with regret. Do we need a motion?
I make a motion that we accept Rebecca's resignation as town agent based on the content of her letter to the board of selectmen.
Second?
Select person.
I'm seconding it. Okay, any other discussion? Mike,
Aye.
Angie, I,
Aye.
Jamie?
Aye.
Okay. The PCDRB Administrative Assistant Recommendation for Hire. Did everybody get their letter? Did everybody read it? Okay. So,
You should probably say what that recommendation
the
is
recommendation. I
and
don't
where
have
it
the
came,
letter in
where
front of
it
me,
came
do I?
from. Yeah, I'll,
Okay, go ahead, so I don't have the letter in front of me.
yeah, I don't have it either, but
It's for
The
Rebecca.
right, the general content of the letter was from Planning Commission, DRB, from Sid Smithers. Our administrative assistant for those two boards resigned, a couple of weeks ago. I think it was effective August 17th, I believe.
But I'd already subbed for her.
And Rebecca had subbed for her before that. The recommendation from Sid on both those boards was to hire Rebecca Dragon as the administrative assistant for those two boards.
And just to bring everybody up to speed, in case you're not aware of it, you're looking at this for the first time. Traditionally, we have just taken the recommendation of the DRB or the planning commission and they put forth an administrative assistant.
Okay,
They're asked, yeah.
Okay, so do we need a motion?
make a motion. I'll second it.
Okay, any other discussion? Mike?
Aye.
Angie, I, Bob,
Aye.
Jamie?
Aye.
Congratulations, Rebecca, you have another task.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think I missed a motion in a second.
I vote 2 seconds.
Mike.
I got the second. So very, very good.
All right,
And also to be clear that, just so everybody knows, that it's not combined with my board it's a separate position from board liaison, but I think it will help with my board liaison. Well, it's good to have someone at those meetings anyway. And since
Right.
I'll be taking notes, I'll know what's going on in there.
all
And
right.
once the weather changes a little bit, hopefully I can slow down a little bit. I was going to a lot of those meetings as a zoning administrator
Good.
as well.
It'll be good. Yeah, it'll be good to have more presence
I just
there
haven't had time.
at those meetings. All right, so we're in my
All right,
section.
moving on to board,
Set pay rate
Oh.
while you're doing this motion.
Do you know what the last pay rate? Because I don't have it in
It
front of
was
me.
15 something, and they had budgeted for 18.
is it on my list?
In this thing, it
Yes,
gets,
it was on
and
the-
aspiration.
I don't think it was on there. Was it?
DRB secretary. It was 1525.
Right, but the raise was not,
No, we did not see there.
we did not see what the raise was. And our motion when we did pay raises was towards the bottom was to give everyone the raises that were asked for.
Passed on by the voters.
That's right.
It was in the budget.
They were budgeting for. Correct, sorry. I was reaching for a term and I couldn't find it.
Apparently, the DRB and the PC budgeted for $18 an hour for their assistant, and that's what
That's
Sid said.
in Sid's recommendation
It is
letter.
in, it's in
And
the
yeah,
letter
yeah,
as well, isn't it?
yeah.
Okay,
That was in the letter.
all right, so can I have a motion for, the secretary's pay?
A motion to adhere to the recommendation to expand the budget of $18 per hour for DRB and PC secretary.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Mike,
Aye.
Angie, I, Bob,
Aye.
Jamie.
Aye.
Okay. Before we move on to you, Rebecca,
Mhm.
should we read this now or should we wait?
Oh, you guys might want to do that and get that, and
Get
then,
this out of the way.
but there's two parts.
Did you give me the other part?
I think she's talking about the ballot
The
language.
ballot
Oh.
language, I wanna make it,
Okay.
Shouldn't we do that under, because now we're jumping off our agenda.
all right. Okay,
Should we just do it on public comment?
I bet
Yeah.
you it'll be there on public comment.
that's
I
fine.
just wanted,
I just wanna make sure we
because I wanna be
clarify.
scrutinized
before
because we
we-
jumped off our agenda.
All right, so let's move on to the board liaison updates, starting
All right.
with the laptop himself.
All right, so I promised to, I know it looks like a lot, but I promised to plow through it very quickly. So everything's in order in your folders that I made for you. So if you order from the front, Mike.
I'll find it.
Okay, so here is from Chuck so about 80% of what I do is on the computer and on the phone. I'm using my personal materials. I don't have an office here, as you know. I need a laptop and a town issued phone to do this job. And so this is apparently the computer that Chuck buys for the town. Everybody gets this laptop. And it's the one that he recommends. So it kind of goes into my next agenda item, but because I'm going to find funding for this as well, but I'm going to try. So I would like approval for, this is the laptop. The phone, I'm not entirely clear on. I do need a town issued phone. I don't know the exact right process about doing that. I do know that the town uses AT&T and there is no AT&T service at my house. So I don't know what the solution to that problem would be. I have Verizon works at my home. AT&T has nothing. But from what I understand, the town only uses AT&T. But so I just need to know I need a phone. I don't know where to get it, how to get it. I'm hoping someone would be able to.
So
I'll be able to help you with that as soon as the board says it's okay that you can. do
Yeah.
it.
So is the motion that we're looking for both the laptop and the phone all one motion?
I would, yes,
Yes.
approval for
So
purchase.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the purchase of the recommended laptop
Which,
and a phone service that will work at our house. We'll have to do some investigation.
electronic.
And that's a purchase of a phone and a service, correct?
Would be added onto the town's.
Well, not if you have AT&T,
Right.
AT&T doesn't work in your house, you're gonna have to buy something different.
Correct.
So, and I believe the town does have all the AT&T phones.
That's what I understand.
So we're gonna
Right.
have to reach out to Verizon or someone else to get.
Verizon or cellular one or something.
I think Verizon's the only thing that works at my house because everyone else who comes to visit me says that they have nothing by me. And I don't even have good internet, so it's not even I can't even like hook into a wireless.
So,
For her phone will be her hotspot.
Who's second?
Nobody yet. Oh, Jamie did? Okay.
so
Sorry.
actually, I want to, if I could, amend this a little bit, because there is some risk that the AT&T is going to be, I forgot which one is which. We currently have AT&T.
Correct.
And then, but you need Verizon.
Mhm.
What I would ask is, I'll go ahead and make the motion just like I did it, but if the cost is substantially different, like greater than 20% or something along those lines of what we're currently paying for AT&T, that the board knows about it before we move
Okay.
forward. But if it's within that, then, go ahead and pull the trigger. So that's part of my motion.
Second, it would change.
Okay. Any other discussion? Mike?
Aye.
Angie, aye. Bob?
Aye.
Jamie?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, that goes into my next point, which is the ELGER. They were calling it the ELGER grant, the Local Government Reimbursement Grant. And this is a grant that you can apply for actual and anticipated expenses that came from a result from COVID, what's gone on from COVID. So it can't be things that you already anticipated and budgeted for. And I would like to apply for that grant to get coverage for my laptop and my cell phone. I don't know the service would be covered, but because there's not capacity in here. I don't have an office, right? So I have to work at home. So this is a COVID specific. The other thing that I wanted to add to that, if you wanted to discuss it and were interested in it, I could apply for this grant also asking for Ellen or Julie, the listers, a laptop and cell phone for them as well, since now everyone is working alternating hours and many people are having to work from home and not everyone has the resources to work from home.
Who's on the administrator with
And
the town map on?
if you need one, you too.
It would be helpful.
Do you have a phone from the town or just?
I do not have a phone from town, but I'm fine with the phone. With the town mapping system, and this was something I was going to look for in my budget next year as a zoning administrator. Kind of off task here, but it would be really helpful for me to have just the town, and I don't need the laptop only for having that town view accessible to me when somebody has a question.
Yeah.
And I'm not able to get in, I'm home, I can answer that question because I do field calls at home and I answer calls from there via email. Just a thought.
So my point on that, so I would add him to the list. My point on that is that with the ELGER grant, and if this is the laptop that everyone gets, if you tell me who you want me to try and get laptops for, and it could be contingent on getting the grant money. Do you know what I mean? For mine, you gotta get it. You gotta get it for me, and I will try to find the funding. But I can still try and apply for a grant to get phones and laptops for people that are needing to work at home. And what I was thinking was, if you wanted to discuss shared one for listers, one for Ellen. She would need a hotspot on her. Do they? They told me that. Okay. So maybe just a cell phone then, and then Julie also said she wouldn't. That it would be useful for her to be able to have a laptop and cell phone because she also is having, needs to work at home. And so if you wanted, you can tell me who and the zoning administrator, and then I'll put those things on a list and I'll try to get it in grant money.
Does that grant include the PPE and stuff that's being used?
It's related to that grant, yes. It's anything.
That's another thing that we can implement.
What PPE? Did we purchase a lot of PPE?
Cleaning supplies, added PPE for.
From what I understand, our purchases are pretty negligible in that. Like they're just.
They've been donated.
Yeah. So there's a cap. There's an ask cap. Like it can only ask for so much. So
Why don't you ask for as much as you possibly can.
Well, that's-
Hopefully you'll get.
Well, yes, but I think from what I understand, PPE and stuff, we didn't really, that's not an expense we've incurred. So, so Julie, laptop, phone,
You might wanna check with Julie.
I did.
I thought she had one, well, the laptop, I thought she had one already from elections.
Oh, I asked her and she said yes. So I'll double check with her and make sure that she understood what I was asking. Okay. So I will ask again. I'm writing that down.
Right.
Okay. So,
That way if we had one here in the town, if somebody.
yeah,
has
like
it,
that could be a
it
shared
it
computer,
could be a
right?
shared-
Correct.
Okay. So Priscilla and a shared computer. So Lister's already have one. So Lister's just phone. And then Ellen and Mike. Okay. I'll add it all up and I will, Mike and Ellen. Both. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. They may say no to me and then we're back to square one, you know? Okay. So that's good.
Just
Yep.
one quick thing before I forget it.
What do you have, about 6 till now?
5, I think.
Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, and then
Now, doesn't yours, I have a speaker or something?
We already have them.
We already got that all fixed?
Yeah.
Okay, good, excellent, okay. 'Cause
So
an
be-
updated one for Zoom would be really good.
Before we do anything with the cell phone, get a message from Joel that AT&T doesn't work very well for him. So
Right.
maybe looking into change to Verizon service. He just texted me that.
we're having the
If
two
we get
separate because
That would be good to have on.
There are options, absolutely.
Right. So that
and
was
ask
you know,
everyone like is your AT&T working where
right.
you are?
So just kind of food for thought before we just buy one phone on one service plan.
Right,
Maybe
we
we'll
might
look
get a
into
better,
that.
a better deal if we say we're gonna take all of our phones.
Right. That's right.
Or half of them, or so maybe what we need to do is ask our people that have phones where and how they work because yours doesn't work either, right?
I have my personal phone is Verizon, the work phone is AT&T, but I have a booster at my house.
I have to have a booster in my house
Oh,
for radio.
so, yeah.
It doesn't matter which one you have in my house. So.
Transportation.
But anyways, just real quick. I didn't want
Oh,
to take
yeah.
it. Sorry.
No, I'm glad you added that. Thank you. So we're set with that one?
Yep.
Okay, so
Yes.
in your folders next is you asked me to start working on, well, Angie asked me to start working on kind of a mission and vision statement.
Yep.
And I asked all of you to individually send me ideas of what you wanted to have in it. So I just wrote something up. It's a work in progress. We can work on it for months if we want, but I thought we would read through it tonight. You can tell me if you want to take something out, add something in, have a short discussion, and then I'll work on it again and bring it back in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I'll just read through it. Town of Pownal mission and vision statement. Mission. In partnerships with our community, the mission of the Town of Pownal is to create a culture of unity and shared purpose between its citizens, foster civic engagement that holds disagreements in mutual respect, and delivers cost-effective and common-sense practical solutions to any issues the town and its people might face.
That sounds very good.
Vision. The town of Pownal hopes to maintain and develop capacity and infrastructure that allows for maximizing citizen well-being and personal freedom, access to natural resources, encouragement of economic growth across a diversity of sectors, preserving the rich history of Pownal, creation of opportunities that bring otherwise divided and sometimes marginalized groups together to encourage mutual understanding and civic unity and shared civic pride, inclusion of all citizens in civic discussions and decision-making that is representative of diverse backgrounds and ideologies without being exclusionary of any marginalized or vulnerable groups. For values, the town of Pownal and all of its dealings with the public hopes to work from the following shared values. We believe our primary responsibility is to our citizens, employees, officials, and those who come into direct contact with our town. We believe it's important to listen to our citizens and be sensitive and responsive to their needs. We believe it is important to work together and to be willing to step outside of our roles when needed to help a coworker if able to help. The success of our coworkers has a direct positive effect on our personal abilities to perform in our individual roles. We believe that we need to express disagreement without casting doubt on the character or personhood of the person we disagree with. We believe that when we have an issue to address with someone, we will go directly to that person to seek resolution before escalating the issue to others. We hold the privacy and dignity of our coworkers and citizens in high regard. We will not do or say anything that compromises the privacy or personal reputation of others for personal agenda or gain. Personality conflicts should never fuel policy or action. We uphold the right of our employees and officials to have free speech, religious, political, etc., in all realms of their personal lives, including their speech on social media platforms and other public platforms. When speaking in an official capacity, however, we hold our employees and officials to strict standards regarding their speech to and about others. We are dedicated to a separation between personal and public opinion speech. We will encourage and seek training and educational opportunities for our employees and officials that will enhance their abilities to serve the town and its citizens. And we believe in open communication and access to the processes, policies, and actions of the town. That's all of your ideas mashed up into one document, filtered through my interpretation of your ideas. So I'm going to get water while you start talking about it. So you can try now.
I think she put pretty much, I don't think she missed anything that anybody had said that we wanted in this. I think this is perfect. Does anybody want to add anything or take anything out?
You could also just spend 2 weeks with it and we could put it up on the website and see if people
Right,
have suggestions for it. And I mean, this really could be something that we ask for a lot of input on.
Well, that was going to be my suggestion, to be honest with you, because we do have the new page, the Facebook social media page. We also have our town website with the info at pownal.org that gives people a chance to weigh in on this. Now I think including our residents in writing this mission statement is a great idea, not just because I came up with it. But, I'm just kidding. No, I think it goes along with everything that we're trying to do with this mission statement. I think it just feeds into that. It's bringing the community together, and we're saying, okay, here's what. I don't think we need to have this thing look like a Bible either.
No.
There's 300 pages
And it's
long.
not, and it should not be the premise of a policy.
Right.
I want to be really adamant about that.
Right.
This is not a policy. This
Right.
is just a statement. I also think this is something that every new board can come and reevaluate, because every board has like a slightly different, right, their own, what they prioritize, what they want to work on, how they want to do it.
We have to have a starting point, and I think this is great. I just think giving it a couple of weeks to have people weigh in, our residents weigh in on it, and
I agree.
move forward. I just think maybe we get enough.
I agree totally. It's going to be very important to the input for a couple of reasons. One is that even though future boards have changed it, you want some consistency from board to board.
Right.
And that
Exactly.
only can come from our citizens.
That's
Right.
correct.
The mission part is like perfect. But my question is, Rebecca, is the Facebook page up and running?
It is. I'm good
Now,
with that.
are they
Yep.
allowed to comment on it?
No.
No. So.
I would send an email. I would tell them where to email me.
Okay, that's
Yep.
what I wanted to make a point of.
Well, that's
And so everybody knows, it's a group, it had groups, that's how you can turn on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm good. That's on my list. It's on my
I just
list.
wanted to make sure everybody knew that they couldn't comment on the Facebook page, that they have to email.
Yeah, I'll make that extremely clear when I make a post about this. And I'll probably post it a couple times over the next 2 weeks, just so it shows up in people's feeds. Okay, so we're done there.
Yes, thank you.
Look at that.
Excellent job.
All right.
Appreciate it very much.
Next is the digitization grants. I have applied, well, it's one grant, but for 2 different programs. It's slightly over what the award is, which is a maximum award of $20,000, but they are, with discretion, giving more than $20,000. So I've applied for 2 parts. One is for the town clerk's office, and you have that in your folders.
Yep.
It's from COT Systems, and that is for land records management system and services. And what it does is it puts all of our land records on a customer portal. And also, it will bring a new computer that goes out in Julie's. It's not for Julie's use. It's for people who will want to come in and search land records. It creates a workstation, title searches. They can come and work on our computer in a special workstation for that. It also comes with this new scanner for new records that need to be scanned.
You mean we're gonna come into the 90s?
We're going to come into the 90s. No, watch. Listen to this. Brings us into the 2010s. If you listen.
I'm sorry, I can't help it.
Can you put his picture of the town on here?
That's okay. Little statue of Mike next to it. So it comes with so that little workstation comes with it. Training comes with it, but also what happens is all of the records are now on a customer portal, which means that people don't even have to come into the office to search. They can pay in a subscription fee to the portal, and then it automatically collects all of Julie's fees and puts them in the right accounts.
Wow.
And if there's problems, they do the tech support, not Julie.
Wow.
So that's about 16. That's an ask of, I forget. I added it up somewhere. It's 16,000 something. Okay. So that's number one. The second program that I added into this grant application, and I feel very confident that we're getting this one because I heard that pretty much everyone's getting it. This is for the listers, and this is for about $4,500. And what it is an update of the coding for their mapping systems. And the woman comes and this is a woman, her name is Susan. She comes and takes lots of pictures of things and links it to the grand list and remapping of the roadways and the waterways to match the new 2019 ortho photos. And so I have these two contracts here that I'm asking the board to sign. They're contingent on receiving the grant money, but I want them signed so we can start the work as soon as I'm told we have the grant money. And that's contingent in the contract. It says
We have to make a motion. We should make
you have to make a motion and vote on it and then
I'll
sign
make a
it.
motion when we sign those grant applications contingent upon the fees, receiving the money.
Yep.
You got it first.
Jamie second. Did you get that? Yep. Okay. Any other discussion on that? Mike?
Aye.
Angie, aye. Bob?
Aye.
Jamie?
Aye.
Ayes have it, Rebecca.
Okay, so I'm not on the CTI one, which is the listers one. I'm not seeing a signature page, but if you just want to sign that end where it says a date emptiness there, and I'll pass this one this direction. This is for pot systems.
This is for Julie, correct?
This is for Julie.
Yep.
It says customer acknowledgement, but I want all of you to sign it just to cover all of our bases. Know what I mean? All right.
So moving on to the historic preservation.
Yep. So now we're moving on to the historic preservation grant. So last Thursday, Mike and Angie and I met with some members of the church council and the pastor of Center Street Church to discuss an historical grant opportunity that Linda, Mike, and I were talking about a couple weeks ago. And so this grant is a 50-50 matching grant, but 50% of our contribution can be in kind, meaning someone can donate it. Also, the church is willing to work with us to try and creatively fundraise to help with our 50% portion. We can receive up to $20,000 in matching funds, meaning that we could do up to a $40,000 project. So we decided we're getting estimates for roof repair and painting. I want to say this just to be clear in case there's questions that yes, it's a church, but it's also a building that is owned by the town of incredible historical significance. And so that is the town's interest in that. We're not putting out a grant to get them a new sound system or to make flyers or new hymnals or, this is about preserving the structural integrity of an historical significant building
That we own.
that we own.
The town taxpayers
That's
own
right.
this building.
Just wanted to be really.
And I mean, I think
Mhm.
the initial discussion, and I don't want to take any more of your
No.
time, right? The initial discussion between Rebecca, Linda, and I was we were kind of out there all on the same page. It's like, let's do something to fix this building because it needs to be done, or it's going to fall down. And I don't think anybody in the town really wants to see that with the historical value fall down. So that's kind of what started this. Linda and Rebecca I kind of walked into the conversation, but it's also kind of been a pet peeve. That's how I got involved. So that's where we're at. I've got a couple of contractors already
That's great.
that are going to give me the estimates. I'll have those for us next week. So when we meet again.
So I have like kind of when we talked about this, I kind of have this personal goal for this project if we are able to get this money, that I really believe that we could fundraise our portion in collaboration with the church. They're willing to do some creative fundraising as well. And so one idea that I had, and I want to do this for the grant application itself, I'm asking anyone that has pictures and memories of this church to write down their memory, send it to me, send me some pictures, or I will call me. I will dictate your memory. I'll clean it up for you, and And I was thinking I'd like to use that for the application process. But if we got enough submissions, it could also be a little book on Shutterfly that people can buy, and that money can go towards this fund supporting our portion of it. And we're going to meet again with the church next Thursday.
Right.
I'm hoping Linda can come to that one because you were out of town last time, and we really want Linda there too.
Right, for sure.
The second, right?
Yeah,
The 3rd, isn't it?
third. I don't know.
Thursday.
What time was it again?
One.
Same?
One.
One?
Yeah. So I really think this is something that I don't know. I'm very excited about this project, and I feel like it's something that we could probably do as a community.
Well, I think it goes along the lines of things that had started previously with the town picnic type thing.
Yes.
This could be something that does pull some of our community members together for a common goal that really benefits everyone in Pownal.
Yes.
And honestly, I think, we talked about this, Bob, on Thursday, because it could potentially help us with our economic development, because let's face it, in the fall, people come here from all over to look at the old First Church in Bennington. Well, if we have a similar situation, I think our views are much better than what the old First Church has when you look down the valley in October. So a group of people, a bus tour, for instance, is coming to look at,
Would definitely be on
the old First. It would be a
yes.
destination, and which could potentially feed into the economic development, especially if they have a restaurant that people go to on their bus trip, have lunch or whatever. And I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, it was in the conversation that we had on Thursday with the church.
And also the things that we've chosen to do, especially working on the roof, we're doing it with an eye to eventually restoring the bell tower.
Right, exactly. Sorry, that's a great point.
Down the road.
Mhm.
We know that that's down the road, but we have to do these other things first. And so,
Right. We have to have a structure to put the
Right.
bell tower on. If we don't fix the roof and paint and stuff, we're not going to have a structure.
that's right.
It'll be pretty low.
And we're gonna have hopefully a beautiful brand new building,
That's right. Town hall,
town hall, or a historical
district.
district, so let's make.
And
With
there's
the
a church.
schoolhouse attached to it.
Right.
There you go. A little
That's
more
right.
destination.
Exactly.
So
Just kind of-
the deadline for this is October 1, so we're working really, really diligently on that. So that also means I need those submissions if people have them. I would love to see like baptismal certificates. I'd love to see I want to see your work from Sunday school, Mike.
And I haven't asked my mom, but I told you there's a possibility that she has it tucked away somewhere.
Right.
I'm not even kidding. Okay.
I want to see your,
You probably won't
the
see where I
sheet
got in
with the
trouble
cotton
for.
balls
Yeah.
glued on it. Okay.
Seriously, it's a true story. Not even joking.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what was it?
Pies, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Very, definitely, many pies.
Okay, so next, are we on to the next? Okay,
Yes, parking for the church.
excellent. So that's all in your packets as well, but I have one you can sign. As part of our DRB conversation, Mr. Strohmeyer was very adamant that he wanted to make sure the church had ongoing rights to parking, even if we were to sell this building. That they would have rights to any town hall parking, and that they wouldn't just be left with the building and nowhere to park. So I said, great, I will create up a document, make a document, and you guys can sign it, and I will just read it out loud. This document serves to ratify what has been, until this date, an unwritten understanding between the town of Pownal and the Center Street Church. The town of Pownal gives Center Street Church, quote, right to parking in any of its parking spaces when the church is holding events. The church's right to parking is contingent on the church building being used for religious services, church community gatherings, and church governance purposes only. if the church purposes to use more than 10 town parking spaces for any event except regular Sunday worship services, it promises to notify the town and to schedule with them to ensure there are no conflicts, just in case they have something on voting day or something, or a big meeting day, okay? If at some point the Center Street Church ceases to be used for religious services and governance, this agreement is null and void. So if you would like to
I make a motion
yeah.
to sign that parking request from the DRB.
Any other discussion? Mike,
Aye.
Angie, aye, Bob,
Aye.
Jamie?
Aye.
Okay, the ayes have it.
Okay, so you're signing that agreement, and I will make sure the church gets a copy of that, and I will make sure the DRB gets a copy of that as well, since I'm their secretary. So,
Green
What?
Mountain Bible Conference.
okay, I sent you guys Green Mountain Bible Conference land. I sent you the map of this and a little description of the ongoing issues. There's a church that owns this. They have no idea how they own it. It's been apparently, this piece of land has gone through many iterations. They don't know who, but it somehow has ended up, the title has gone to this church. They don't want it. They just want to convey it to the town. They would like to just give it to the town. It's 8+ acres. And they either would like to release it for tax sale, but first they offered it for the town to take as for our purposes. So I need to know what you'd like to do regarding that. And if you don't want to decide this week, but you want to go look at it and then decide in 2 weeks, I think that would be sufficient.
I would recommend that we go look at it and see if we can have some ideas of what we can do with the land, and then to move forward from there.
Because you may just want to put it to tax sale, Bill. It's up, you know.
So my question on that is, if we go look at it as a group, do we have to warn that? That's what I thought.
Or
Okay.
you'd have to go everyone would have to go
Yeah,
in a couple groups.
Exactly, we know where it is.
Right, I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that we either go together and we warn it, or we go individually and that's fine. And that's probably how I would like to do it. Except for I see the thing where you want to set up a little task force.
No, that's not for that land. That's separate.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Don't read ahead.
So that's, so yeah, too late, I already read ahead. And I think coming back in 2 weeks would be, a pretty feasible.
So maybe what I can do is I can arrange with you guys, and I'll go up with you in different groups, and that way I know what everyone's thinking
And we
about
can
it.
only, right, we can only go 2 at a time.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Do we know if
just
there's
so we know.
plans and everything, so it's mapped out so we know where they are, or?
I have the lister's map. That's all I have. So it shows generally
Now,
where it is.
this is what I would suggest. Take it for what it's worth. I think Bob has Onyx on his phone.
Yep.
I have Onyx on my phone.
Okay.
Now, Onyx is an app that it could be used for different things. So maybe Bob and Jamie could go together, or Bob and Angie, or people with Onyx, and Onyx is pretty accurate. So that way, like 2 people that don't have it aren't going together.
Right.
I guess is what I'm saying.
So you guys are a pair, and you guys are a pair. So or something like that.
Right. Just because Onyx, I know Bob has it and I have it. I just know that for Bob and I to go together would be kind of foolish because we both have it. Yeah, you guys are up there stumbling around looking for a boundary pin.
Well, and I know I'd like to look at, and Linda, would you want to go see it too? So me and Linda would like to go see it too.
Right.
And it should section this off and show you the 8 acres.
So
Right.
So I'll set us all up just so I know when everyone's going. Linda would also like to see it. I know I would like
Great.
to see it, so we can go in various groups. Okay, great.
And I think, like I said,
And come back in 2 weeks. And
right, because Bob and I could, I guess, be the group leader because we have Onyx.
You're the group leader.
Yes.
All right. You're the hall monitors. Okay. So on to the next, which you were in. Bob asked to talk about this a little bit. The large parcel of town-owned land and potential uses. Linda gave me all of the land use agreements regarding that piece of property today, so it's very dense. And I spoke with Alan Smart of Rural Philanthropy yesterday, and he gave me this really great talk about, it basically confirms what I said a few weeks back about grant seeking and what you really need to do. Creating a list of all your needs. I'm tying it into this land, don't worry. You create this big long list of your needs, and then you start to prioritize those needs. And really his recommendation is just to pick a couple projects that you want to prioritize, that you start really working on and creating the language for, the narrative about, the ideas for. So that way you're ready to go to get some of these larger grants to develop things like the piece of land. We really don't have the capacity for that right now. So what I'd like to do, if you consider it a priority, I'd like to create a small little working group of citizens from different sectors of Pownal to discuss, for the sole purpose of discussing the use of this land. And to start just throwing ideas out there to evaluate these land use agreements together, to start getting a lay of the land, something that we can bring back to you and call it 6 weeks, something like, you know what I mean? Just like, here are some ideas, this is what we're thinking about, let's discuss further.
And just as kind of a preview, when you read about that land and the trust, it had specifically identified some recreational uses there, and it listed everything. And I'd like to approach that
As a multi-use.
As a multi-use, maybe division someday. And these aren't promises, but this is the possibilities. Is you could have horseback riding trails in there, mountain bike trails, hiking trails, ATV trails. And it's beautiful property, and it goes all the way up to the top of, I believe it goes all the way to the New York border, which is that ridge line on your right as you're driving south on 346. So and then there's two sections of it. There's 300 plus acres, and then it's a slight separation. There's 300 plus acres, but it's just got massive potential. But just like Rebecca said, we're going to need to develop. And
I would like to. I think I'd like to also reach out to Ray Rodriguez, because I know that he's already had conversations regarding this piece of property, and I'd like to reach out to him. I'd like to put out a call to invite people to join me in the conversation. Again, this is not an official commission or anything like that. It's just people willing to look at it and start talking about it.
Now, and also just a recommendation. Something I could raise. He's really focused on recreation and Pownal.
And he probably knows a lot about that piece of property.
And then, yes, that's correct. But we should also probably reach out to, because of all of the potentials here. I know we have a couple of horse farms and horse trainers that are in so we should find the owners and the proprietors of those businesses and include them, and then, of course, anyone else.
Absolutely. I want to recommend, too, that we speak with Jim Henderson from BCRC.
Yep.
He's up on the mountain range. He has some mapped
Great.
areas. We already did a study many years ago
Great.
for reuse and of the tannery lands. And there's a list of ideas, and there's a list of what was actually allowed and not allowed. And you'll see a lot of that in the documents.
That's great. Today. That's great. And that's what I mean, like just a bunch of us to sit down and look through all of it and get a sense of what it is. So it's not just me in my head.
Some things have already been done.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure a lot of work's already been done.
Right.
Well, exactly. But I just would like, for me, I could honestly spend all of my hours in a week doing that. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's why I really like to do it with a cross section of people. Make this more of a community endeavor instead of a me endeavor.
Well, and I think as a board, I think it's great to throw out some recommendations, such as Ray, and when they're throwing out Jim.
We need to solicit
address the woodlands with our town forester.
Yes.
Well, I was going to ask her that question because.
And we would, and as a group, we would be able to make a list of all these conversations we need to have. This is a process. It's not hey, I'm going to come at you in 2 weeks and say, I want $1 million to build the thing, and they'll come. This is, I'm asking for permission to start in 5 years, right? So I'm really just asking for permission to start the process, to just start a process of moving forward and building a little capacity here. So we're start to qualify for these grants.
I think
Put a blurb on the Facebook page too.
Yeah.
I think, Mike, you were going down the path of. Wow, I shut up.
No, what?
Oh, I think you were going down the path of. We also need to put this out there and solicit people who are interested, because there's people that we haven't mentioned. Right? We don't want to control the membership, other than
That
other
would
than soliciting people.
That's right.
taking from the-
That's right, and I think going back to our mission statement, if we go back to that mission statement that we just had
Yeah, we just
tonight, just read, look at personality conflicts have to be thrown out the window on this if there potentially is one. I'm not saying there is, but I'm just saying because somebody may have some really good ideas just because someone doesn't like that person too bad. They may have some really cool ideas about making
Yeah,
things
I
happen.
have no desire to like curate.
I know you don't.
Yeah.
I'm just saying personally,
Right.
you know, that could be really work into play to our mission statement at the beginning of it. Look at, we're not going to tell somebody they can't come here and work on this project. I don't think any single person is going to be told they can't work on this project.
No, the more the
Right.
merrier.
Yeah, right.
And we want all forms of recreation.
Right.
They shouldn't be thought of.
And that's in the mission
continuing
statement as well,
recreation.
this idea that we should be pulling from a diverse cross-section of people
Exactly.
on everything.
No offense on the Facebook page, again, you got people that hike up there, hunt up there.
Yeah,
Right.
I'll put a call, so if you approve me to do that, I will put a call out asking for interested people. I'll start having some little meetings with them and start just fleshing out some ideas. And I'll, when I come and give you these reports, I'll give you a quick little blurb update on that as we're going. And
I don't think we need
What's
a
that?
motion. I think we just
I can
need
just
to give
do
her
that,
permission.
right? I can just
Right.
do it.
Yeah.
But she may come back with some.
And that's fine. I hope she does.
Yeah.
I really hope she does.
All right, so
One
Yeah.
quick question I have for you. Are you done with that one?
I'm done with that one.
The grant that Joel had spoke to us about.
Yes, I was talking to him about that, yeah.
Okay. Is that something that we want to put on the agenda for next meeting?
So what I told him is that that's the kind of grant where you would have to have a full-blown plan ready to go. So if you guys have a forestry plan, like a logging plan, something like that, and then I'm happy to help you go after that grant. But I am not the person who can create a logging.
No, right. It has to go through our. It has to go through our forester. I just know that grant was presented to us, and I didn't want. I think it got presented to everybody.
If the
Enjoy,
people
right?
who would create the plan that needs to go in with the application, if they look at the application and they see they have their ducks in a row, then I'll sit down with them and let's go get it. Yeah.
Which Bob could lead into some of the recreation, because if we get into a forestry plan, they're going to create some logging roads that could turn into horse trails or biking trails
That's true.
or an ATV
And
trail
also
or
needs
whatever.
access.
So that's kind of why I was saying at the same time. You refreshed my memory, Linda, when you said about the forestry.
And that's gonna be part of the conversation. Right.
Right.
No access, there's nothing can happen.
So,
That includes logging.
could you
Said that long, but
could you put that on the agenda for our next meeting?
Okay, what specifically?
The forestry grant
No,
part.
no.
meet with a.
Access. Starting to obtain access to that piece of property.
And it's gonna be.
Because it's gonna take time.
And it's gonna be tricky because not only do you have to go through private property to get to it, it's not even continuous.
Right.
It's broken into two segments.
But if we don't start the conversation,
Right.
and this is the second or third time for sure that I've heard we don't have access to meetings, let's start getting access, and we still don't have access, so let's start it in September.
Yes.
Awesome,
That's great.
perfect.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay, so
So then the rest of my update is, I only put the things on the agenda that I needed action on. I'm just gonna blow through the rest of my updates because I have auditor stuff in here and all that. So
okay, go ahead.
all the tasks I did, state, architect, all that. I set up a home office. I'm moving everything to my house. There's no room for me here. I'm keeping all my Mylars there, my plans. The Pownal Historical Society gave me a desk. Pauline gave me a chair. So I actually have some filing cabinets now. So I actually have a functional office. It's getting there. I spoke with Alan Smart. I already said that. If anyone is interested in reading my notes from our conversation, I put it in a folder. I have an appointment with Catherine at the BCRC to discuss brownfields in October. I started the Facebook presence, and as Bob said, I had to do a group because we cannot shut off comments And we really just don't want our social media page to be a place where people debate and go after each other. So, and what we're going to, on the website, on every page at the top header of the website is a Facebook icon. And if you click that, it takes it to our Facebook group. I have an appointment with Jen Hawley in October. We're going to discuss building up the Explore Pownal section of the website. Just some ideas regarding that. That's a heads up. I wrote to, well, let's do that later. It's the ballot language. I'm sure that's going to come in public comment. Okay, so this is something that's happening on info. I'm sure Linda's noticed it too. We're getting all these solicitations from LLCs, and they're saying, we don't take a profit, but we represent good dental health information, and they're very aggressive, and they want to put their links on our website, community links. My opinion is they're LLCs, they're not 501c3s. I just wanted to talk to you about that. Even if they say they don't take profit, it's not, I don't
We
question
rejected
that.
one last year.
Right.
Last year they came with this, and it was almost like it's I'm going to use some extreme language, and I apologize for it, because I'm not going to name the group. But it's almost like it was a seeking lawsuits, but we'll give you all this information about this condition. And so, these horrible
Yeah,
conditions,
it's
if you
weird
have
to
them,
me.
we were a resource for all of these
Right.
great medical stuff. And if you have this, here's where you can click to join.
Right,
the lawsuit.
right. They're LLCs, like we're doing. I didn't. So I just wanted to just have a conversation, and I was going to say that my personal feeling on this is that any links that we put on our community information tabs on the website should be like from the state of Vermont, local 501c3s, verifiable organizations, not someone in Ohio that says you should put me on the
I
website.
believe our policy state.
Well, they say they're not a bit. I'm just saying that it's coming in a lot, so I just want to
I think Rebecca's absolutely right. I think we stay strictly to things from the state of Vermont or
or New England, also New England.
We also have,
or
as part of our policy, any link we have to an external website that is not the town of Pownal's website needs to go on our community links page. I think we're in violation of that now. So we have to be careful of that.
Well, that's what
And
that's where she wants to go. That's
Right.
where this person wants to be put. But in the community links, like an external link page. But I just don't think it's appropriate to link to
I
these
don't
people.
think-
I just want to end it now because we're going to keep getting them.
I
It's
just-
a new trend.
right. I don't think adding an LLC to that is what
Right.
we envision our Facebook page to
I
be.
think there's, Raul was pointing out, because there's two issues.
Right.
There's the issue of how do we use our website? When we approve a link, where does it go? It's
Right.
not part of our town government. It goes on the community link page. And now and we have a policy that dictates what are the conditions that would approve an external link on the community links page.
Okay.
It doesn't belong anywhere else.
Right.
That's the point out.
Oh, good.
And both of those things are true.
Right. I just think, let's stay strictly what we intended it for, and that's not for
Yeah.
solicitation.
Okay. I just wanted so that way me and Linda can just know when those come up. We just no thank you, move on. All right.
Unsubscribe.
Unsubscribe. Thank you. Okay, so yeah.
I want to go back to
Mhm.
Brownsfield's discussion with Catherine.
Yeah, I just made an appointment.
I just wanted you to know that I have recently spoken with Jim Henderson and regarding the landfill that we're working on currently, the transfer station, that they go through 2 phases of the Brownsfield already. Okay, so I was trying to get the information to figure out what exactly we got.
What status we're at.
Yeah, well, I know as we went further, we couldn't get any more money from the Brownsfield, but I didn't really know why. And so I really need to.
This is unrelated. The appointment, Catherine just wrote to me and said, hey, I want to talk to you about this thing coming down that we're nowhere near being ready to do, and it has nothing to do with the landfill. So I think it was just in general grant programs. Yeah, it's not specific to the landfill. What Catherine wanted to talk to me about. It's more of like a general program. I think that she just wanted to talk to me about, since you're doing grant applications, come and talk to me and we'll start talking about this program that maybe Pownal could be up for in a couple of years, was what she was saying. So that's why we didn't make the appointment until October.
I just thought maybe it wasn't applied to the landfill that we're currently working on.
No, but I'll talk to you about that another time, because that was Christy Farnham who wanted to talk about that, who runs another big grant program. Okay, So I wrote to the forensic auditor, and that letter is in your folder, and his response. And he sent his deepest apologies and promises to provide a report no later than September 4th. So we'll have that for the next meeting. I spoke to Joseph Aru of the Bonadio Group, who's conducting our annual audit, and we've been waiting for our fiscal year 2019 audit. And I learned a few things from our conversation. There's a couple of holdups on it. One of them is he received a 30-page affidavit given to him by a previous board member. And he says it's created an enormous amount of work, and he's found no basis for any of the accusations included in that document. And he will address that in the report. He also sent a letter to our former auditor requiring some basic information. It's a standard procedure when you take over an auditing job from another company. They ask for a disclosure of some very basic information. Our former auditor is refusing to provide that information to our new auditor. However, it does not affect the audit, but they will have to write in their report, we did not receive this, whatever. But we do have the final report from the 2018 audit from that former group. Yes.
As a question, have we tried actually getting both auditors on the phone along with an official with town, just a conference call to talk it through and say this is what we need and can you provide it?
So I had the conversation with the older auditors today, and I don't think that's going to be happening.
So they can't
And I mean,
they can't get a
they
directive from the select board to take and release that information that we pay for?
According to the old auditor, this is what they said, okay? They said that as soon as they handed you the final report for the 2018 audit, that their contract with you was complete, that they owe nothing else. So when the new auditing company sent, which is apparently a standard procedure, you write and you say, please send me, I don't even know what the information exactly is, maybe Linda knows. But they said, no, we have no obligation to do that. They should have asked for that before they even signed a contract with you.
So, and the new auditor needs something more than just the auditor's report from the previous auditor?
It's just according to what I understand, it's just a standard kind of movement of the, it's not,
baseline information.
yeah, it's not,
Sorry.
it doesn't affect the audit. Like the 2019 audit that Bonadio Group is doing, they just have a standard form where it says, and we got this from the former auditor. They're obviously not going to be able to provide that. However, it does not affect the audit. It doesn't affect the outcome of the audit. It doesn't affect the numbers that are looked at. It's a procedural matter that didn't happen, and there's a conflict there. And so we can direct our present auditor to just make a note that they couldn't get that, and to please provide us with the 2019 fiscal year audit, because we need it to apply for the bond. So yeah.
It's not information that Ellen could have helped out with.
No,
We can't request it ourselves.
The water selectmen has already.
they're not giving it. I'm telling you. I
No, I
talked
didn't
to
know
them, and
the
it's
numbers that they were looking for, something that Ellen could take and get.
No,
That's
no.
all I'm saying.
I can find out more, but honestly, to me, it just sounds like, my personal opinion is that to me, it just sounds like it's being held up on these things that are procedural in matter. They don't affect the audit. It's not just get your report,
Right.
Get your report. Get your report.
So, I mean, the bottom line is we can move forward with the current audit. We just need to make it clear to our current auditor that we're not getting anything from the previous auditor.
Yep.
Because they're done with their contract. Let's move forward.
Let's move forward.
Write it into the report if they were unable to obtain.
That's correct. And so so they will give us their final report in the next couple weeks, which I believe this is time for the bond. He said he didn't think there'd be a problem because most auditing companies are not starting fiscal year 2020 until the fall, into late fall. So they would like to start fiscal year 2020 in late September, early October. And he said that's a standard timing for the annual audit. He also emphasized that as auditors, they're looking at everything using standard legal auditing processes. This is the same auditing process that most Vermont towns utilize. And there's no aspect of our accounting that goes without auditing and scrutiny. And so that's, number 7 is accidentally there. Okay, so that's the Bonadio group.
And I just want
yeah.
to add to that, that this audit is late to begin with because they were not allowed to begin when they wanted to.
Correct.
And it's already time to start the
Right.
the new audit, and we haven't got the old one.
All right, I'm gonna say that. So, what is the impact on the bond for the town hall? Do we need to have a completed audit?
Yes.
So what I just said, you're gonna have it,
Okay.
Comes from.
you're gonna have it.
Okay.
And they will take, from what he thinks, they will accept fiscal year 19, but obviously that's something that you're gonna have to double check, but he didn't seem to think, because he said it is standard timing to start your fiscal year 2020 about now, because the year ended in July, so people are just starting to get them going. So, but that will be, I'm hoping to have that and the forensic ready to go in 2 weeks for you guys. But those were the holdouts.
Yeah, fine.
Okay. And then my last thing is, I had told you prior that I had a personal conversation with the executive director of VASA, Danny Hale, and to bring that up a notch, I had a meeting with Danny Hale and the Trails coordinator, Ethan Hill, to discuss, there's new VASA legislation, and I really don't really want this to be a massive topic of discussion tonight. I just want to introduce to you that I had this conversation. Mike and Bob came as well, and I kept that separate from everyone, so there would be no accusations of forums and things like that. This was just the 2 gentlemen who've been the most vocal about the ordinance. And we met with the spokesperson of the local club, and we also met with Danny Hale, and we got some really good information about what the new legislation is, VASA in general, and what I'd like to do is do some work on presenting something to you in 2 weeks regarding what we learned, and also some potentials for the town sticker system that is a part of our ordinance that you guys really need to start working on, so you have something to present for the vote that's coming up. So I just want to introduce that to you. It's not really a topic for discussion, but just give you the heads up. And I thought it was a very good meeting, and I wanted to make it public. And he will also come to that meeting, and he will be here publicly to speak to people, answer questions, that kind of thing.
Oh, and it was just my impressions of it. Not to be very, I will be very quick. It was a really productive meeting, and it was and I think we're going to be answering. We have better answers now, or we will have very soon, on things like enforcement and things like after hours and things along that nature. Along that,
I think the biggest impact that we got out of this is that we might have a very large resource for enforcement, including for the after hours partying and trespassing.
with no
huge
additional,
resource.
with
With
no
no
additional
cost.
cost to the town.
And I think that you're absolutely right. I think let's let Danny speak to that
That's correct.
2 weeks from now. I think he's probably going to Zoom in, not be here.
Oh, no, he won't be here in person.
Yeah.
He's
I just
far
want to make
away.
that. I want to make that clear too.
Yeah.
That he will be zooming in to that meeting. But I don't think that we want to get into a whole discussion on that. Let's let him.
No, we shouldn't.
Talk to him about that.
I only brought it as a heads up,
Right.
introduce it both to the board and to the public at the same time, so that, that's the conversation that I have been having. I mentioned it the last meeting as well.
So sorry you guys didn't really know about it. But
Sorry, I wanted to be sure. Yeah.
It was,
Thank
it
you,
was,
Rebecca.
It was research.
That's right. It was research. So sorry. So yeah, sorry. No, it's too bad. So
Okay.
sad.
So those are all my things.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Great
Excellent.
job, excellent job. All right, so for everybody out there that knows that we had a special meeting on Saturday about the wordage of the upcoming election in October. So Mike, would you be willing to read this?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I don't think I have my copy here. So do I?
So- Well, there's
I'll
two.
read it.
This is from,
Do you have this one, Rebecca?
that's the one from town attorney.
This is a town attorney.
And then this
I
one
don't have
is
that one.
you, okay.
So changing the verbiage on the petition for the town vote. So we reached out to Bob Fisher, the town attorney, and this was his response. First, the wording of the article can be different from the wording of the petition in this instance. Generally, that is not the case, especially with petitioned articles for town meetings. However, here, Section 1973 provides that the question is whether or not to disapprove the ordinance that the select board adopted. Hence, the editorializing in the petition can be changed, and I would suggest that the article be as follows. Article 1. Shall the town of Pownal ordinance regulating all-terrain vehicles, ATVs, adopted by the select board on July 9th, 2020 be disapproved? I'm going to read that again. Shall the town of Pownal ordinance regulating all-terrain vehicles, ATVs, adopted by the select board on July 9th, 2020 be disapproved? Now, Rebecca reached out to JP Isabella at the Secretary of State's office. Through some emails, 172666 improper influence. Neither the warning, the notice, the official voter information cards, nor the ballot itself shall include any opinion or comment by any town body or officer or other person on any matter to be voted on.
That was it.
So that's it, right? That's okay.
So, if I can add to that, I just want to make it clear that JP Isabel had
Thanks, Mike.
the language, correct? The Secretary of State had the language of both the petition.
I did. I
and
gave him
change.
both. I gave him the language, and I told him what was removed.
And if
And
I'm
what
reading
was
it
changed.
correctly and reading the response correctly, not only did we have the authority to change it, we had an obligation to change it.
Correct.
And I want to make that clear.
Yes. We did not do anything that we weren't supposed to. It's 100% what we're supposed to be doing. I want everybody to realize that we want this to go to the town vote. That's why we had to have an ordinance. We've been working very, very hard on this. We want the town to become together. You can agree or you can disagree, but do it in a respectful manner. Be respectful to one another. Back to our mission statement that we are going to adopt as soon as we are done with it. Anything else from anybody?
I have one thing on public comment
Okay.
that I just want to bring up real quick. The thing that you have given us tonight, your report, Rebecca,
Yes.
is fantastic, for sure. What I'd like to do is I'd like to see a report similar to that from, doesn't have to be, doesn't have to be quite as detailed, but what everybody's working on.
From me?
No, from everybody, from all of our, from our executive assistant, from Priscilla, from, I wouldn't even mind seeing one from the road crew, kind of where they're headed, from Tom.
You're not asking me to do something.
No, I'm not asking you to do something, not at all, sorry.
General.
I just think that as a select board member, I think seeing that report put in front of us from you, I would like to see one from everybody that quote unquote works for us. Every couple of weeks would be fine.
At
That's
least once
right.
a month, I think.
Yeah, once a month, once every couple of weeks, whatever, we meet every 2 weeks. So I just think that's an awesome thing because we can, if we have questions, and I know for me, for instance, I forget things. Okay, let's face it. I totally forget something. And if I have it in front of me that we talked about it 11 days ago, then yes, it just helps me. And I'm not trying to keep track of what anybody's doing. I just think it's a tremendous benefit for all of us to see what's going on and what everybody is working on because I think everybody's working really hard on a lot of things that don't get read in public, that nobody sees what people are working on behind the scenes. I just really think that there's a misconception out there that nobody's doing anything type thing. They're just floating around. And I want to get rid of that misconception, if it makes sense. I want to know, okay, this is what the road crew did. I don't need to know that we spent 5 hours cleaning the culvert on Maple Grove Road. I don't care about you know, we cleaned culverts, we did this, we did that, whatever. Just
Just a paragraph.
whatever. I
Just a paragraph.
just
What you're
want to
doing.
have. I just think it'll bring. I think it'll bring that.
We'll bring knowledge to our citizens that they are actually working and that they are doing things.
Well, yeah.
It's just more transparent.
And it's more
Right. It
transparent.
makes the government more transparent. And we can read the highlights of those reports. We don't have to read the reports verbatim.
Exactly.
We can get the highlights of them. And the other thing I'd like to add to that is we did create a couple of new positions. And I think it would behoove us to just, especially in the initial phases, monitor what's happening and kind of adjust the descriptions and the
Well, and it also could justify why we created those positions.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, or not, if that were the case. I don't think that's the case, but it could.
well, but we can always fine tune. Because they are brand new.
That's right.
And we learned a lot last
That's
year.
right.
We learned a lot this year. And we wanted to continue.
I sat here tonight listening to some things that Linda's been working on in the, you know, not too distant past, talking with Jim Henderson, talking with some different people that you've been talking with. I think if we had that in front of us, it's awesome, right? You know, then we don't have to ask, you know, I just really think, I'm just using you for example, because you threw some things out there that you've been working on that we didn't know. Oh, you know, and I think that's great. I think it's fantastic to have that out there.
I don't expect any of them to be as big as
No, and not to take any more time because we have to have another meeting night. But I just,
I was pretty quick. That
no,
was
I
pretty
know. I'm,
quick.
just,
You were good.
I'm kidding. I just think that would be. I would love to see that every couple of weeks or every month or whatever it is. However, I just think it's really great because it does go to show that things really are getting done. I mean, we know that things are getting done, but we can say this is what's happening every time.
Right.
And this is what's going on.
I think we got a lot accomplished tonight. A lot.
Well, I think we've done pretty well,
We've done
to be
really
honest
well.
with you, for a while now. I think we're,
You still got public comment.
Yeah,
Just
so
don't
public
start
comment.
patting yourself on the back.
that's right, public
That'll
comment.
help.
Public comment will now be open. Please raise your hand.
Jim Coates.
I just wanted to add,
Are you ready for Jim Coates?
I think Jamie's got one more thing.
actually I have two. One, I wanted to add to Mike's comment as far as what he's working on. I agree with it because then when we get stopped by the public out wherever, I mean, store, wherever, and we're all on the same page. We all got the same information. We're putting it out there the same. And my second thing is anybody that knows our lovely town clerk, they're doing a raffle for an ATV. If you haven't got involved in that, if you're interested in it, stop at one of the local stores and pick up your ticket.
A fundraiser for her medical expenses, correct?
Fundraiser for the
Yeah.
medical
Last thing on
expenses.
that.
I-
Do we know?
They're pulling in November.
Yeah, they're gonna
There's-
they're gonna pull
We
it
have
in
some time.
November. Since the town fair didn't take off, it didn't. The ticket sales didn't go as planned for the August drawing. So just a FYI out there.
Okay. All set now, Jamie? Anybody else have anything before we open public comment?
Nothing.
Okay, Priscilla, go ahead, please.
Okay.
Please remember to state your name and that's it, I guess. 3 minutes.
And Jim wanted.
Hello, gentlemen, and Angie, how are you tonight?
Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to, can you hear me?
Could you state your name, please?
My name's Jim Kosis. First of all, I'd like to just state that I'm just totally amazed at the presentation that Rebecca puts on each week. Last week was just spectacular. Tonight's, I think, was so much well-informed. It's something that I just have not heard in many years. My second comment is basically, I just want for the record, I really don't think that the ballot question that you put on, or the wording of the ballot question you put on, was either opinion or a comment by anyone. I think it was more of a descriptive of what the petition or what the article was saying. But I really appreciate you guys for putting it towards a townwide vote. That was one of the things I thought would just be perfect for this town to do. And I thank you very much, and I hope you have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
No,
There's nobody else out there?
there's no one else there.
A couple more.
Oh, I think they've had plenty of time. I make a motion to adjourn.
We'll give them a minute.
Give them a
We'll
minute.
give them a minute.
So I'll speak very slowly. I second.
You with the hard stop are gonna give them another minute. I hope
15
she-
minutes.
Yeah,
She said,
you,
she said 9.
yeah, you with the hard stop. Oh.
Okay, you have a motion made,
Aye.
seconded. Aye. Bob, Jamie. Ayes have it. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much. We
Thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much.